that is an issue. The issue of debt, the debt being held the gas companies by the Gencos is also there. The issue of vandalism of the gas pipelines is also there. So these are all issues that the gas companies are battling with, and that is why they cannot give the Gencos enough gas supply as will be needed to power the plants and supply bulk power to TCN.
Yeah.
To TCN, so for TCN to wheel the power, to evacuate the bulk load to the discos. So that is what we've been having.
And also the frequent, perhaps, collapse of the national grid.
The frequent collapse of the national grid. Maybe I need to explain this. You see, there is a level, there is a threshold below which the system, when you generate. Let me explain very well that power comes from different sources. I have mentioned the bulk load comes from different sources. I have mentioned 4 hydro power plants. Then we have, maybe aside from the small high PPs and independent power sources and power producers, we have I think about 9 major thermal power stations. And when all those produce, when they generate, it comes into a pool. It comes into a pool that you now call the national grid, and there is, and then the balance of the pool, or the maintenance of the pool, is the business of the TCN, of Transmission Company of Nigeria, because they carry the bulk load and ensure balance. But there is a threshold below which power generation must not go. If it goes below that, it causes imbalance in the system. It causes disruption in the system. And that is what has been happening. Because, the system collapse that you are having could also be, could also result from the low generation level. When it is below, we operate at we operate at the level of 50 Hertz. That is our transmission system. Our grid system operates at the level of 50 Hertz. If power generation goes below that, there will be imbalance in the system. There will be disruption. So that explains why we've been having some disruption in the system in recent days, because the generation level does not match.
Okay, and so there's a sort of a base minimum.
There is
that for it to function,
yes,
appropriately.
Yes.
But most of the discos, most of the 11 discos have been blaming the whole thing on low generation and weak transmission.
And that is it. If there is low generation, there will be weak transmission.
So
there will be load restriction, and there will be load limitation.
And what's the way out of that particular?
We are suffering presently. You see, our suffering presently is emanating from the fact of over-reliance on just one source of energy generation. We have that over-reliance on the thermal source. Maybe as a country blessed with so much gas resources, maybe we will not have had much issue, even if you want to rely on gas. But if you want to rely on gas, you've got to do the proper thing that you should do to ensure that the gas, flow, is does not have any issue. We have not done that. We have how strong or how stable are our infrastructures for the gas extraction and distribution. So both at the extractive end and at the distribution end, our infrastructure for gas evacuation and distribution is very, very weak.
Well, and this is a serious problem, because apart from the homes, apart from the domestic, which people tend to always look at as, it's important, but hardly critical. Businesses, the entertainment industry, hoteliers, and all sorts of businesses, with the current price of fuel, which we all know the reason for, it just is adding, because they have to revert to generators.
Yeah.
We know what that is going to look like. We know what
jacking up the cost of business, and then they need to transfer, they need to transfer that to the to the consumers,
and that is wrecking the bottom line of a lot of businesses. And unfortunately, it's getting increasingly popular, this whole matter of solar generation. A lot of people, when I say solar on a small scale, there are quite a number of people who were getting by hoping that the generator was not getting as much use as it used to get, simply because they now have a solar device or contraption. But all of that has been wiped out in recent times when it's been consistent. So this is not a problem that we can really afford for it to persist, can we?
No, we can't. We can't allow it to persist. And that is why, I was saying that we need to now start looking at, exploring other sources. There are so many other sources of energy generation being explored by other nations of the world. And there is none of them that we are not blessed with in this country. You talk of wind energy.
My mind went there. Were you going to say that? Are we suitable? Are we suitably placed to be able to key into that potential?
We are not, because we have not planned for it. It is not as if it is not doable for us, especially in the northern part of the country. You understand?
Is it particularly windy?
Yeah.
Because some states around the world are called the windy states in some countries.
So in some states of the north, you understand, we can explore the wind option.
Okay.
And it is cheaper, you understand, and it is also scalable. Scalable in the sense that you can do it incrementally.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. You do it on a small scale. Now you had to read. And the advantage of wind energy is that you don't even need so much land to do it. On a farmland, you install your windmill, and
this work by wind turbines, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
I thought you had to, because I've heard in other areas of wind farms, these turbines, you look at it, it goes for a long stretch. But maybe those are being done on a commercial scale.
And that's why I've said that it depends on the scale. Okay. It depends on the scale that you want to operate with. You understand? So it is. We have said, that's why we say it is scalable. You understand? So that is even nations are also exploring the option of ocean. Tidal waves. They are, nations are,
sort of, that one would sort of double bank with hydro.
Well,
double bank a bit.
But it's different. We are talking of the waves now, the tidal, the waves and the tides of ocean. You make use, you explore it, and then, for the hydro, you dam.
Yes, you dam.
You dam.
And then use the power.
So, but even you have not. Some people will argue that we have not. The ones we are battling with, we have not even gotten. Yes, we have not even gotten made any headway. And you are talking of, like you have said, are you not being too ambitious? But then, must you stay on the same level,